And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Go ahead and say it, Ed. Go Tigers!
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
You like that? You like that?
F it. Jamar's down there somewhere.
New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport.
No!
Splash Brothers. Yeah.
It's playoff. Keep going, Brace.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to episode number 32 with Dirty Boots Sports. And do we have a show for you? We're going to start it off with a little movie war debate with Awesome and Humble. We got Woods joining us today. Woods, what's up?
Nothing much, guys.
You ready to break this down?
Yes, indeed.
Gotcha. And we got a whole lot of sports topics coming up next, guys. Everybody want to say hello?
Yeah, what's up? Clay here.
Hunter's here.
Bill's here.
Josh is here.
And Kyle.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's going to be pretty interesting. Well, I think we ought to start it off with talking about what defines a war film. You know, does it have to be action in it? Does it have to be killing to be a war film? What do you guys think?
Well, I looked up the definition of war.
I like that.
That's how I went about my.
God, what is it good for?
Hey,
nothing.
absolutely nothing.
A state of competition, conflict, or hostility between different people or groups.
Yeah. Well,
So, I think that gets it at its core, but, you know, obviously people are going to think war, shooting guns in a field.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like that. But I'm very limited on that genre of movies, so my movies are stretches, but I think I can convince y'all.
You know, Battlestar Galactica is on some list, which is interesting. I would not label that. I would label that sci-fi. But
Star Wars.
I'm about to say Star Wars.
It's got war in the name.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to change mine.
Yes.
Those movies don't deserve to be on a list.
Oh, look out.
Easy.
Oh.
Shots fired.
This is his
Shots
last
fired.
episode.
I may
Welcome,
have to
Hunter,
move down
and
there
goodbye.
before we're done. We're not going to get in a Star Wars debate, are we?
Them last two were terrible.
Well, there are some duds for sure. I don't know if we need to dive into that.
I'm not a Star Wars guy, so it don't hurt my feelings.
But back to the debate. I had a problem with A Few Good Men. To me, that is a war film. It has absolutely nothing to do with war, but it's 100% military. And I left it off my list, which is a great film.
It's the Cold War.
I guess the Cold War era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about eating his breakfast, 200 yards from Cubans that want to kill him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's discussed.
Move the mic over.
Well, Woods, what you want to add to what we're going to be discussing?
Well, I mean, I guess you can say that every decade's had a war. You know what I mean? So you hate to not choose one over choosing another. And, well, I picked one from Vietnam, but I didn't pick one from World War II. Well, you can't leave World War II out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then again, like the World War II era, a lot was going on that wasn't just war. I mean, look at Schindler's List.
Great war film.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't really have that as a war film, though.
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, you're dealing with.
But it's definitely a war film.
Set during the war, for sure.
Yeah, set during the war, and one of the most shocking films of all time, I would say. That movie's so rough to watch. Have y'all ever seen Schindler's List?
I want to really bad.
It'll change you.
It's a commitment.
Yeah.
It's like, what, 3 hours, 20 minutes or something?
That's nothing these days.
Yeah.
But it's realistic. I mean, that's how it was.
Yeah. It's a terrible yet very eye-opening, great film. It's just terrible to think that actually happened. But anyways, that like you said, is that, I mean, you don't have a bunch of guys in the trenches during World War II stabbing each other with bayonets.
Yeah.
But that's definitely dealing with the war, So do you put it in there? Do you not? So it is what it is.
Well, just real quick, when you think of a war film, what war comes to mind? Real quick. I mean, mine's Vietnam.
Vietnam. First thing pops in my head.
Vietnam.
Yeah. Clay, Hunter, Bill.
World War II.
Yeah, Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
No,
there you go.
really.
Yeah. The Hurt Locker.
Vietnam, because
Sniper.
Yeah, I mean, when I was young, that was going on.
Yeah. So when you think of a war film, you're thinking of Vietnam.
And I think the reason why we think of Vietnam, or for me, is when we were growing up, in Hollywood and film, that was the war they were going after.
That's right.
At the time.
TV
shows, movies, so everything we watched that was coming on TBS and coming out was nothing but jungle warfare. You know what I mean? And in the jungle and dealing with Vietnam. So
and
I think
all
that's
your Rambo stuff. All
that's
that
right.
was,
That's right.
Is Rambo a war film? That's a deep question.
We'll get into that.
Is Forrest Gump a war
we'll
film?
We'll get into that.
How about
later.
Tropic Thunder?
Tropic Thunder is definitely a war film.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a great one.
It is a great film.
Definitely about war.
It is definitely about war, and that movie is wonderful.
Man, Jack Black tied up to the tree. I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah.
It's not family friendly, but that is some funny stuff.
Robert Downey Jr. should have won an Oscar for that.
I agree.
That was great.
He done the best blackface
ever.
Whoa.
The only acceptable blackface.
Yeah. Right.
Per Jamie Foxx, not per me.
Yeah, we talked about that on the comedies draft, actually.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Well, you guys listening at home, what we're going to do is list our favorite 6 war films.
6?
5.
Oh, 5. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I want to do
It's a
6.
dirty 5.
Yeah,
I'm stretching at 5.
yeah, dirty 5. Well, who
Yeah.
wants to go first?
I'll go last. Y'all go.
I'll start it off, man.
You start off.
All right. So I'm going to start with a honorable mention. I know we probably shouldn't do that. but my honorable mention is Apocalypse Now. I'm sure young kids haven't watched that. It's listed as a top war film, and that's why I watched it. Fell in love with war films. Everybody said you got to watch Apocalypse Now. It is fantastic. It's just a little weird.
Yeah.
So it didn't make my list.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Exactly. Man.
Great cast. in that
Surfing
movie.
off bombs, man.
Super awesome cast.
Yeah. And if you like freaky movies, to me, it is very, very freaky.
Never get off the boat.
No.
But a lot of these war films are freaky.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, and I'm going to I'm not bashing it, but when I go with my next pick, you'll say, well, that's a freaky movie too. And I guess that'll segue to number 5. I'm going to go Full Metal Jacket.
Ooh, great.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Have y'all seen that?
Oh yeah.
My answer is going to be no just about every time you talk.
I got you.
But
Those-
I know what all these movies are, so.
Those movies run together for me.
Yeah, I can see that. They're filmed kind of in a dark style, and
Wow.
That is one of the best movies.
I love it.
I mean, you'll see when
Well, my
I read my
might
list.
be in
Yeah,
at least
got it up there.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I loved it.
yeah, definitely some good characters. Joker, Rafter Man. Yeah,
I love the
And
beginning of the movie
gunner,
where they,
gunny sergeant.
they've all been drafted and they march them all in and they all sit them down and shear the hair off and you see the looks on these kids' faces and you're just like, oh God.
What have I gotten myself into?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was almost like 2 movies.
Oh yeah.
It's a first half and a second half.
I agree with that.
Yeah, once they get out of basic training, it's almost like
Totally different movie.
that's a
Right.
completely.
And that's one movie that the getting out of basic could have been the movie and it would have been great.
Yeah, it could have ended there.
Oh, the
Yeah.
first half of that is
Amazing.
It is.
Yeah, it's amazing. So
The actual war scenes though are good too.
Yeah.
Kind of cheesy, unrealistic maybe, but still keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
don't know what's
when they're in
coming next.
that downtown, pursuing the sniper,
Yeah.
man, I mean that was
Yeah.
one of the most intense war movie scenes you'll see.
Yeah.
Very
anywhere.
intense,
And
man.
then,
It was
and then they
good.
come up. We don't have to worry about spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, that's on you.
Yeah, you've had
that's on you.
From 1987,
40 years,
yeah, you had.
When
You're
they-
probably
when they
not going to
find-
watch it if you hadn't watched it
you
yet.
know, I just turned 40, so I made it. Yeah. Anyways, so when they find the sniper and it's like a young girl.
Yeah, it's a woman.
Yeah, it's a young girl, and then they have to deal with,
Yeah,
like,
what do you
we
do
now?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough movie.
yeah. That's my number 5 pick, man. Interested to see how many lists it's on. But I'll move on to number 4, man. And it's kind of a recent movie, and I'm not really sure 20 years from now if this will be on my list. But it's Fury, and every time it's on TV, I can't turn it off, man.
Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf,
The guy that plays him.
and just an intense movie. The whole time, tension is so high because of the new guy coming onto the tank, and
I feel like the cinematography is really strong too.
it's fantastic, man.
Oh, it's
Wait,
great.
what is this?
Fury, World War II tank movie.
It's just about time.
How
I
have
don't
not
know the
seen
name
this?
of the young guy on there, but man, he was great in that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, he did a good job.
I love Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
He's great in everything.
Bill, you've never seen that? Oh, dude.
Man, you've got to watch it.
It's kind of slow, you know. The ending's incredible firefight, you know, and I don't know, man. It kind of changed me when I watched it, man. So I had to put that on my list.
Yeah.
And it jumped a lot of solid, like Apocalypse Now. I had a hard time putting that in there, but
Me and my wife's first date was
it Fury?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, man.
So something
So
that
you impressed her right there, huh?
watching something that came out like what, mid 2010s, while the other ones were what, 80s.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference in that, you think?
Big time.
Yeah.
It's more realistic, you know. And my number one movie, and a lot of these movies, to me, when you watch them now, you'll say, man, this is so cheesy and unrealistic.
Yeah.
And Fury's not that. Fury is, I can't find a flaw in Fury at all as far as being realistic.
And I think that's something we saw with Top Gun, too.
Yes.
Just the advancement and how much better something can be whenever it's, 20, 30 years in the future.
Yeah. It's night and day, right?
Yeah.
But the characters are great in Fury. The story's good. And, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're in a tank. Well, I'm going to take it to number 3. I bet this is on Clay's list. I'm going to go with Inglourious Bastards. Yeah.
Never seen it, actually. I know.
Oh, man.
You hadn't seen it,
I
Clay?
want to see it really bad.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tarantino. I love
Tarantino.
him.
Yeah,
If you love Quentin Tarantino, you got to see Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
the bat on there.
Oh, the Bear Jew, man.
Oh,
He's
I think
a bad
I have
man.
a copy in the car, Clay. You better run and get it.
I got a copyright in that closet right over there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's entertaining. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Great characters. You know,
Classic Tarantino film.
very bloody and gory.
He don't really make a bad film. Though,
You don't?
so.
No.
One of the best things about Tarantino is he'll jump around from story to story within the movie.
But
Yeah.
brings
And
it all
follows-
together at the
yeah,
end.
That's
And
right.
it follows the same
And-
Tarantino style, which, you know, I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know
We
what?
could do a Dirty Five of Tarantino.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
You know what I like about
That's easy.
Inglourious Bastards is the Commandant, and I'm not going to give anything away, but the Commandant, the guy that plays the Commandant.
Yes.
Every
Yeah.
time he's on film, every time he's on screen, you are nervous.
Yes.
You're on the edge of your seat because you know he's insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
he's
something's going to.
you know something's
gonna go.
fixing to go
Yeah.
down no matter what.
He's,
And
he's the Jew hunter.
that's it. And every time he's on film, you get that uneasy feeling like you're in defense the whole time.
And you-
and that's
And to that character, you leave the movie saying this guy deserves an Oscar for this. I mean, it's
For sure.
fantastic.
For sure.
No flaws. Great character.
I think he
Well
might have
executed.
won one.
I think he might have got a Best Supporting Actor. I'm almost certain.
it was great, and he did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to be Brad Pitt in that.
Yeah.
He was a
You always
bad
want to
man.
be Brad
In
Pitt.
every movie
Yeah.
he's in.
Yeah. That's gonna be my number 3.
Killing Nazis.
Killing Nazis. Number 2, I do want to talk about a little bit because I feel like it might not be on people's list, and they need to go either A, watch it, B, revisit it. But it's Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
Thin Red Line may be the best war film of all time. It's probably better done from a directing standpoint than my number 1. It's beautiful. It's got symbolatry all throughout it. It's got a great storyline. It's very realistic. You know, it's not cheesy or anything like that. It's really a fantastic movie. And it kind of was a sleeper. People didn't talk about it. I mean, it was big when it came out. Did you ever watch that, Josh?
Yeah.
I'd never heard of that till
Did it
right
make your
then.
list?
No.
Yeah. Oh man, I love Thin Red Line.
But it's on most lists, like if you look,
yeah,
the critics done.
yeah.
I feel like at the time it was probably overshadowed by Saving Private Ryan.
Yes. And I'll go ahead and say that's a great honorable mention. So I can't believe it's not on my list. It's fantastic.
Yeah, both came out in 98.
Yeah.
And Saving Private Ryan was the more popular of.
I was more of a Saving Private Ryan guy than
Yeah,
Red
and-
Line.
and
Not
just-
to say that's a better movie. I'm just saying, like, you know, popularity wise, that's probably why it's a sleeper.
In talking to people too, we were soldiers. Everybody always lists that above Thin Red Line. I think that's unfair. I don't think it's true. I think that's a good movie too, but Thin Red Line is great.
True story?
I don't know. That's a good question, man.
Okay.
That's a good
We
question.
can look that up and see.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah, I
if
think it
was
is. I mean, it was based on a true story.
Yeah, yeah, maybe Easy Company or something kind of like Band of Brothers. I'm not sure.
It's an adaptation of an autobiographical novel
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And there, I think on Netflix, I've watched a documentary that followed some of those same characters or some of the people in the movie, and kind of told their story deeper. So it's there's some more backstory to it.
Well, I'm gonna take it down to number one, man. Are there better movies? Yes. Was there a movie that didn't hit me in an impressionable time over this movie? No. And it's Platoon, man. I cannot stop watching Platoon. If I flip through the channels and I'm going to school or work or anything, I'm finishing Platoon. Great storytelling. I don't know how much I can.
William Dafoe.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's great, man. Sergeant Barnes, you know, and I just be crying by the end of it, man.
Mm-hmm. Keith David. I don't know that we can name 10 movies that he ain't in.
Yeah.
Keith David's in everything.
Yeah.
You know, he's great in everything he does, and so.
And the whole concept behind that movie, you know, Charlie Sheen plays the character that volunteered.
That's right.
And he's in there with all these other guys that got drafted, and they're looking at him like, you know, what the hell? You're trying to be the hero? You coming from your country club home and
why are you here?
And volunteer?
Right.
You know, what are you doing here? And,
and just to see his mindset shift throughout the movie, you know, from being torn between who to kind of fall behind. You know, there's kind of a good sergeant, a bad sergeant, or depending on what your viewpoint is, you know. And like he said at the end, man, I feel like a child born of two fathers, man.
Flight of the Valkyries scene, where they play that song when the helicopters are coming in on Platoon, that to me is like one of the most iconic scenes.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think of anyway.
But it is, when I think of war film, it pops into my mind, you know, instantaneously.
It's a great one.
Good list.
Well, who wants to go next?
I'll go. All right. Number 5, I almost put Fury on there. I was debating.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like you. I love that movie.
Yeah, that makes me feel better, man.
That's a really good movie. But number 5, I'm going with something kind of newer, The Hurt Locker.
Great movie.
Great film.
Good one.
The Iraq War. I mean, there's not a lot of movies about it. You don't see much about that really.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hushed.
You definitely don't see movies about bomb engineers.
Right.
So it kind of introduced us to their world, which is frightening.
Yes.
Which
Could
is
you imagine?
relatively a new thing.
Could
That's
you?
right.
Yeah. Could you imagine being
its
the guy
cast is
doing
made
that?
up almost entirely of Marvel people. So.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's got. I think it's Jeremy Renner, Anthony Mackie, Guy Pearce. I think is in Iron Man 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a Guardian of the Galaxy's acoustic or something.
Yeah, it's basically like that.
Just playing with bombs.
Yeah, that's a good choice, though, Josh.
So I'll go number 4, Inglourious Bastards. I mean, we all know why. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino.
Kingsman.
We done talked about it. So I'll go number 3. And this one is war. It's not an American war. Braveheart.
Braveheart.
There you go.
It's a good one.
It's the Scottish independence.
Definitely a war film.
Definitely a war film.
Not in our lifetime.
But, man, it was a great movie.
Yeah. You want to give us the most famous quote from that movie?
I'll let you.
I'll put you on the spot.
You can't take my freedom.
Yeah, there you go. We'll never take our freedom.
I mean, you go to the Duke basketball games, and what do? They got the handprint on them from Braveheart. Going to battle.
Mel Gibson is great in war movies, apparently.
Well,
So we mentioned
he
him
starred
a
in
couple
it,
times already.
directed it, co-produced it. I mean, it was all him.
Wow. And that was another. How long was that movie? 4 hours, 3.5.
It was long,
That
and that was long before movies was really long.
Right.
That
You
wasn't
know?
the norm.
Yeah, it was not the norm, and it was. I remember watching it, and I guess that's one of the first movies I had really watched that was that gory, because they're doing a lot of axe to the face, boot to the skull, type deal.
Yeah, and they quartered him at the end.
Yeah,
That was
just
rough.
chopped him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was.
But
really,
that's how it was back then. I mean,
yeah.
you didn't have all these weapons. You had to find any way you could kill somebody. You was killing them.
There was no lethal injection.
Yeah.
Yeah. The that movie was of course, that came out in probably, what, like 96, probably? 95.
95.
So I was 8th grade or whatever. Watched that movie, and I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. It's awesome, but it's crazy. So, yeah, that was something that always stuck with me. But the score to that movie, the musical score to that movie, people still use it today. You know what I'm saying? All that big orchestra music, you hear that a lot now. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that with the new stuff. But that was a big score back then. It was great. So, but yeah, that's a great movie.
All right, so I will go number 2, Saving Private Ryan. Great movie.
Yeah, I don't think it gets any better than Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And you have it on your list.
I know. Should have put it on there. It's really a docu-series or something. I don't know.
Well,
I don't categorize it as a movie.
I mean, it's kind of like Band of Brothers, know.
Right.
But what I like about it is
Tom Hanks is the connection there.
Right.
And Spielberg, right?
Spielberg.
Yeah. And
Did he
Spielberg.
do both? Okay,
Yeah,
well, there you go.
they did both.
Greatest director of all time.
But it's a great story too. I mean, they go. 3 brothers have been killed. There's one left. They have to go in and save him to keep the bloodline going. It's.
But first, they got to find him.
Yeah, they got to find him.
The sniper in the bell tower.
Yeah.
That he's my favorite character, maybe in any war movie.
Yeah.
You know, he's quoting scripture as he's dropping Germans. I mean,
and that whole the part of it where they're the Normandy invasion, man. If you don't have chill bumps when you're watching that, that's just crazy because that's probably one of the most intense battle scenes.
The first scene, it starts out, man. They're coming off onto that beach, and could you imagine being them guys in the back thinking, "Oh Lord, I'm fixing to have to go, right out here and get shot," because thousands of them are and the water's just red from all the people. I mean, that's how it was
I'll
too.
never forget the guy that jumped off the boat too deep and just had too much gear on. He just kind of drowns.
You're losing before you ever start.
That's the first movie for me that was really ultra realistic.
Yeah.
It didn't seem fake or cheesy. I mean, it was just terrible.
And that was probably the last time that we actually did warfare in that way, where like we were okay with like sending thousands of troops in, knowing they're gonna die.
Yeah, you didn't care if they died.
Yeah,
almost.
like that's not done anymore.
Yeah.
It's softened up with.
Yeah, when they let that
radar,
when they let that down and all them guys started running on I mean, they knew they were gone. I mean, they were dead.
It's just a matter of if.
Yeah.
Am I going to be the one hit or are you going to be the one hit? And I think they asked when that movie come out, it was such a big smash.
Yeah.
They asked a guy that was a veteran that was at Omaha Beach. They were like, how realistic was that compared to actually being there? He said if you could have pumped in the smell, that would have been exactly the same. That's powerful.
That is.
That's powerful. So, they I think they said they spent $11 million on that scene. Just on that opening scene of that movie.
It set the tone for the
set the
entire
tone
movie.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it really only got better.
Yeah.
The movie.
I didn't realize Vin Diesel was in that movie. He got shot by a sniper in the bell tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That had to have been one of his first, huh?
Yeah. That
One of his first
prior
movies?
to
Pitch Black.
Pitch
all
Black.
That, so, yeah.
All right. Well, I will go with my number 1, Full Metal Jacket. I remember watching that when I was younger, and that like you said, that you just remember that movie. The parts of that you'll never forget. And also, back in the 90s, a rap song come from that movie. Do y'all remember that?
Yes, I do.
I'm drawing a blank. What is it?
Okay, so the prostitute that was offering them whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
So 2 Live Crew done a song, Me So Horny, Me Love You Long Time.
Pop culture fact.
That's right. I just wanted to throw that in there, for those that didn't know.
Very good. Yeah, you see her walking, you hear that these boots were made for walking.
Yeah.
Man, but the end of the
had that in my ringtone one time.
For who? So we talked about it being 2 halves, but the end of that first half, when the guy committed suicide.
Oh yeah,
that was intense.
So everybody seen that Full Metal Jacket? No. Oh, God, such a disappointment.
Yeah. You guys have homework.
You've got to watch that.
Yeah.
I take it y'all haven't seen Platoon either, have y'all?
No.
Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now. Like, you need to watch them all.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
You're gonna
They
be.
all run together to me.
You're gonna be
because I didn't watch them till like it was more appropriate for me to watch them because I was a little young for them, you know. But you know, they all kind of run together. They all have that same feel too, you know.
And if you mix in Die Hard and Forrest Gump with it, it just seems like just a big circle.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Like sequels.
Almost.
Is that Bill's list right there?
Ooh. No. Just a little preview.
Okay.
Who's up next?
Josh. I'll go third and kind of flip the script a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
Switching
I mean,
gears.
I've got a couple like more movies like y'all are talking about.
Yeah, Joe, don't count.
Well, those movies suck. So, but I got a few that they're not, on the field and stuff. But I'll go with my number 5. I'll go with Black Klansman. That's.
Hey, I love that movie. But how are you getting a war film out of that?
I mean, well, it's more the race war, and you have the certain situation of him trying to infiltrate the Klan.
Yeah. And
he's trying to break it down on the inside and figuring out why they're doing this and all this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I love the movie, and but I mean, Adam Driver's in it, and he's fantastic in anything he does.
Definitely
Star Wars.
If you just take the word war,
misused,
it's definitely in that with race war.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're talking about tensions between groups of people. There's probably not a movie that does that better. Almost like that does that great and captures that really well. I didn't even think about that movie.
Yeah, civil rights war, if you will. Yeah, that's thinking outside the box, but good pick.
Yeah. All right, and then number 4, I'm gonna go 1917. I think that came out in 2019. I think
that's a killer movie.
Yeah,
that
awesome.
I think the first time I watched it, it was in history class, and how it's just one consecutive shot.
Yeah.
However they managed to do that, I don't really know. But by the end of it, you're just like, I'm tired.
You're out of breath.
Like I'm just.
Yeah, you watch 2 hours straight of a man's journey. Honestly.
Yeah, and they filmed like 17 minutes at a time or something ridiculous, running through those trenches.
Yeah, and the only time you can tell that they might have swapped, took a break, was just when it goes dark. Yeah.
Which was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
And that's the first World War I movie that has made our list, which is kind of interesting.
That's the only actual war movie that will make my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot of World War I movies.
I think there's some from other generations, maybe.
Yeah.
From like the 40s.
Yeah, going through lists, but definitely not any on my list.
Trench warfare is just not as sexy.
They made it sexy in that movie.
That's got to be the best World War I movie.
How bad did you feel when that plane crashes and that pilot kills them?
Yeah.
He lets them live. Could have smoked them. Mm-hmm. I mean, that just hit me in the gut, man.
It's just brutality.
It hit me in the gut, and I don't know. That's a rough scene.
Yeah,
very good movie. It almost made my list too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that one up.
All right, and then number 3 is, I remember when it came out that me and my dad were going to go watch it, but this is back before you had reserved seating, and I think they came over the radio and said it's sold out for that night. And then when I watched it, I was like, all right, well, it's not the first movie in a series, and that is Harry Potter: Deathly Hallows 2.
Hold on now, I haven't seen that. I need to know where the war's at in there.
Well, you got the
good versus evil.
The good versus evil war,
That's constantly going on. That's kind of normal.
Yeah, well then this is kind of like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War. You've been building up to this big epic moment of where they're just all going to go out and fight. And the last 30 minutes of that movie, it's probably couldn't be better. And I've said it numerous times, I think, where I was like, it's just as important as Endgame was for Marvel.
What is this in the series?
It's the finale.
It's the last movie.
Gotcha. I want to go back and watch those. I kind of missed them.
I watched them for the first time in March or something. Loved them.
Not disappointed.
Okay, I'm still trying to figure out the war thing though.
What do you mean? It's Harry Potter and Voldemort, and
they're fighting each other.
This family thing that's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And then he's at the end of it, he's like, let's finish this how we started, and he's like together, and he just grabs him and they jump off, and that's just when everybody starts fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
Are there machine guns in there?
No.
Do they wear camouflage?
Machine
No.
one.
Machine one.
Or subjective.
Did they enlist?
I like it. Yeah, were they drafted? Was Harry drafted into the wizardry?
He got sent the letter.
Yeah.
And he kept getting the letter
It's coming
rejected
together.
by his
It's
uncle.
coming together.
Yeah.
And his uncle kept tearing the letters up until he eventually.
They had the different branches of the military.
Yeah, they've got the different branches of the houses of the. They've got Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor,
Army, Navy,
and they have to train.
How many people die?
A good bit,
A lot. About
especially at the end.
About half.
Yeah. And did Harry kill any of them?
Yeah. A bunch of the main
but
people
only
die.
in self-defense.
Yeah. Stone Cold Killer.
All right, and then number 2, actually, war movie, and that's Hacksaw Ridge.
That
which,
no one else mentioned
I know that.
Is
I
that the
think
one with
30 years from now that'll be
Andrew
a
Garfield?
classic.
No, that's not it.
The dude didn't
I
want
mean,
a
yeah,
gun.
you're right, but that's not what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
You
And
haven't
it's a
seen
true
that.
story.
Yeah, it's a true
That's the
story.
craziest thing about it. If you watch
that-
it and realize
that's
it's a
not
true
Clint Eastwood?
story, the stuff he's
It's
done.
directed by Mel Gibson.
Oh, he made the list
there we
again.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he's up climbing up that ridge and he's just saying, "Just help me get one more." It's probably one of the most powerful moments in a movie because he does it for I don't even remember how many hours.
Did that guy end up winning the Medal of Honor for that?
Yeah.
He ended up winning the Medal of Honor.
And
for
it's
that,
crazy.
He
'cause
should have.
They wanted
Right.
to kick him out. And it made you realize, like, hey, you don't have to be a killer to serve. You could be like this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
It shows him at the training camp, and he's like, he's getting picked on by all these people, and he just goes to the captain, I guess, and he's just trying to convince him. And I think he sends him home, and then he tries to prove himself, and they eventually just accept him back. And they're like,
Yeah, there's kind of a hearing, and I think his dad showed up to kind of vouch for him, maybe in his World War I uniform.
yeah, which I know they said his dad wasn't actually a World War I veteran,
Gotcha.
but I mean it helped the movie out. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah, definitely a brave cat.
That's number 1 bad beat right here.
well,
Yeah, how does it beat Hacksaw Ridge?
well,
Is it actual war?
it's a war.
Okay.
It's a war. And it also might be unreleased, but
God.
I'm going to go with John Wick 5, Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
How many
You're skipping
dogs
4?
does he have?
John Wick Chapter 4.
Okay.
Chapter 4. My
Spoiler
bad.
alert, chapter 5.
Yeah, insider info. But, yeah, the third one, have y'all seen John Wick?
1 and 2.
You haven't seen 3?
So you
I've
haven't seen
seen them
3.
all.
3 when y'all talked about Top Gun, and I think
One is
you
the
said
best.
it might have been the best action movie of all time.
Close, yeah.
I wanted to be there for that discussion, but yeah, 3 he's going through the movie and everybody's hunting after him, and then he eventually comes to the point to where he has to come face to face with the leader of the table, and he's like, "All right, we have to do this for me, or you're gonna die." So he decides to do it, but then I guess I'm kind of spoiling it, but anyways, so he's talking. He goes to his mission that he's been put on, so he doesn't get killed. And he comes face to face with the guy, and he's like, I don't know that I can do this. And he's like, you're going to go to war with the table? And he's like, yeah. So the movie ends, and they put out the teaser for the 4th one, and he's at war with the table. Like, it's, there's swords.
Should have already been out, though.
Nunchucks. Yeah, it's supposed to come out 2 years ago, but
Well,
COVID.
I'm going to redo my list, and I'm going to put The Godfather on there because, man, that was a mafia war there.
Yeah. You can tie a lot of things into the word war.
Well,
Scarface.
Oh.
I guess
War
I
drugs.
could say that 5 Feet Apart almost made my list, and that's
So should we have
War
put
against
military war?
it's war on love, man.
If it was military war, I was sitting out.
I've got the Notebook
I'm
on my
glad-
list, so
He did go to war
We'll
in the
discuss.
Notebook, and that
He
is
did go to war.
the greatest.
Have y'all seen Overlord? Overlord.
Yes.
That was almost on my
That's
list.
a great movie.
That one's about D-Day.
Yeah.
It's fictional
I
fiction,
love that
but
movie.
Nazi zombies, right?
yeah.
Yeah. You can't lose with that
Well,
plot, dude.
they made them. So I guess
Yeah, they were
wasn't
genetically
zombies.
engineered
Yeah, they
in.
wasn't zombies.
Technically, Hellboy's a war movie.
hey, World War Z is high on my list. So
oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that.
World
I
War Z
just
is
cannot believe
great.
he didn't. I thought for sure it was Infinity War.
Infinity
You were
War.
gonna say.
That would have been a good one. I like they did a good job with those Marvel movies, but like you said, I don't know. I think that the Lord, I lost my train of thought. The what was you saying? With the was it Hacksaw Ridge? Was your number one? Is that right?
No.
Hacksaw Ridge is like the official number one,
two.
but
Okay.
John Wick's going to be number one for my life.
John Wick, yeah. John Wick 5, unreleased, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They confirmed that it was supposed to be happening.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Good deal. All right.
Who's up now?
I'll go. I'll get us back to the. I guess not. I've only got one that's like non-traditional war, I guess. But number 5 is Inglourious Bastards. That's the third time this movie's made the list, so I don't need to talk about it too much. But y'all were talking about the Christoph Waltz guy, and the scene where they're in the restaurant and she's having to sit down and eat with the guy after he slaughtered her family.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and then she has her revenge at the end. She burns up the movie theater. Yeah. Great movie. How does Hitler die? Yeah, they got Hitler in there. Yeah, they got him in there, which is the big fictitious part of that movie.
It's kind of how the war should have been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they shot him up with the Tommy guns.
That's right.
But anyways, great movie. The next one is probably going to be the only appearance of this in this episode, but The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, great. Yeah.
Great movie.
What is that?
That is based on the Satsuma Rebellion, led by, hold on, I had to look it up, Takamori in 1877 Japan. So it was the best part of the movie is that Japan is wrestling with like westernization, modernization, and actually that is what led Japan to its prominence in the East, like ahead of faster than China, faster than Korea. That really, that's kind of what set them up to, World War II, take over, the entire, Pacific area. But it's a great movie. I don't know has everybody seen it?
What is it?
Yeah.
The Last Samurai.
No.
Yeah,
Great
I've seen
movie.
it.
Yeah, great movie. So Tom Cruise is an American who fought during the Civil War, and is known for that. He goes over to Japan to be a consultant, and he gets captured by the samurai, and then the samurai kind of mold him. And anyways, it's a good film. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
I think it's an underrated Tom Cruise movie.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
By him. Number 3 is Black Hawk Down.
Ooh.
That's about the Battle of Mogadishu.
That's an intense one too.
Very intense. Love Josh Hartnett in that movie. Now that I know a little bit about medicine, I really enjoy the part where his buddy gets shot in the femoral artery, and they're having to do surgery on the guy while he's awake, and he gets the artery and he's got it clamped and he's trying to hold it. And he's like, hold it, and then it retracts. And I'm like, all right, he's done. Can't do it again. But and that was a tough scene, to watch. But that whole movie's great. I mean, you get the Delta guys that come in, and that scene where the helicopter pilot and the Delta guy are fighting the rebels. I mean, that really happened, and those guys posthumously got Medal of Honors for that. But great movie. One of my favorite lines from that movie is like, "This is my safety." When he's talking about, "Hey, buddy, your gun's off safety," he's like, "This is my safety." Great movie.
It's a great book.
I've never read the book.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Was it the same?
Yeah, it's just kind of gets more in depth in the intensity of that battle. Yeah. Like those Delta guys you talked about, they just showed up with, they just killed bad guys till they ran out of bullets. Yeah. Basically, that's it.
And when they dropped off that helicopter, they knew they were going to die.
That's it. They had no no question, but they did it anyways. Just to get them guys out. Pretty awesome stuff.
Number 2 is Saving Private Ryan. That's been mentioned a few times.
I feel like it hasn't been talked about enough.
Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, whenever I hear a war movie, that's what I think. I've never seen it, but that's what I immediately go to.
Well, they talked about the opening scene. The opening scene is
I thought that'd be like
realistic.
number 1 or 2 for everybody.
Yeah. When they're going through, trying to actually find him, and they're going through this part of France that's just been destroyed, rubble. You take something that was really nice, countryside, and it's just blown to crap. I think seeing that was my first experience with, like, I heard about World War II in school and stuff, but I think that was my first experience with, like, what it may have actually looked like, and
there's a lot of that throughout France, and even when they bombed London, and then when, the Allies went in and hit Berlin, I mean, man, they just wiped.
It's hard
everything.
to imagine, like, stateside looking that way. Imagine if that war had come over here.
Well, but America, we've only got as far as us, we've only got 240-year past here.
That's right.
Some of those buildings and the streets, made out of stone. Some of that stuff's been around there hundreds and hundreds of years, 1,000 years. And they just wrecked it.
Well, talking about the movie, what about the scene? They have a guy attached to their unit who's pretty much a typist, secretary, something like that. And there's one just pivotal scene where
he freaks out and can't do it.
Yeah, he can't do it, man. His partner's getting wrestling with a German, and he can't kill him. He can't go in there and save him.
Yeah, the fear just takes him over.
Yeah, and I think watching it, you kind of wonder, is that the kind of person I am, or would I have done something? And I'm not sure because it's built so well. You really can't. You could brave up and say, "Oh yeah, I'd have went in there and helped," but it's kind of set up so well. It makes you kind of question your,
That scene makes you sick to your stomach.
It does. And then he walks right past him.
He walks
right past him afterwards.
And he's just sitting there crying.
Yeah, and he's
that's
not even going to smoke
rough.
this guy because he's
done.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he's not worth my bullet.
It's a powerful scene.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
All right, and that's right. That's hard for me to follow up on like a positive note after talking about that, because that to me that really is one of the roughest scenes in that whole movie.
Yeah.
But number one is The Patriot. Has that made a list yet?
It has not.
No.
Mel Gibson once again.
It's a great movie though.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Did Mel Gibson serve in the war? I feel like that's
past
something
life.
he probably did.
Yeah. He played
Mel
Santa Claus.
Gibson is definition of warrior.
Yeah.
I feel like he's about that age where he would have served in one though.
So the cool thing about that movie is you really see the price of war throughout that movie, because he loses the young kid at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And then he loses. Well, his wife had already passed. Then he loses 2 kids, 2 sons.
Yeah, his family's decimated.
Yeah, by the war, their home is destroyed, burned down.
Which would change anybody.
The son who's actually of fighting age, his fiance and an entire village is destroyed in a church, by the British. Which the guy who plays the villain in that, he also plays Trevelyan in the Bond film. What is his name? I can never remember that guy's name. But he's an excellent villain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
You really hate him.
Yeah, he's easy to hate. And some of the fight scenes from that we were talking about this before the pod, but the scene where they're at the creek and he just completely wipes out that whole troop of guys. That scene is one of my favorites. And then at the end, he's fighting the main guy, and he told him, Mel Gibson told him at one point in the movie, he's like, before this war ends, I'm going to kill you. Mark my words. And at the end, the guy, he thinks he's got him beat. He's about to finish him off. And he's like, it appears that I would be the better man. And out of nowhere, Mel Gibson ducks his, the sword or whatever, and comes up and stabs the guy. And he's like, my sons were better men. But that, and then where they're flying the flag, real patriotic scene. But that's kind of what did it for me. So that's
had Heath
my
Ledger
number
in
one.
it.
Heath Ledger was Heath Ledger
great.
was one of the sons that got killed.
Yeah.
He gets sewed into a bed sheet, which was kind of interesting. And a funny note.
He gets what?
He stayed the night at his suitor's house, and to protect everything, they sewed him in a bed sheet.
Huh.
Which was maybe a real thing. Bill, you ever been sewn in a bed sheet?
Not that I can talk about. It was a mattress, wasn't it? They sewed him in the mattress.
Yeah, that's right. They used the sheet to sew him to the mattress.
Yeah.
On Full Metal Jacket, they, didn't they hold him down with then beat him with the soap towels?
Yeah.
Well, that was rough.
That's pretty close.
Segue to that.
Well,
I don't know. Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, yeah.
So Mel Gibson, his family, he had a family of 11 kids. His dad actually moved their family to Australia when the Vietnam War was about to start and like the draft was going on. Like people almost call him a draft dodger, Mel Gibson.
Really?
So he's around that time.
Then he puts all these movies about war out.
Yeah.
The Patriot is set in 1776.
Yeah, that's the the American Revolutionary War.
No, I didn't mean that war, but I wondered if he served in a war. No, because I mean, if Mel Gibson's like what 70 now,
well.
Probably. Yeah. So he could have served in one of these wars that's going on in America since then. You know,
the Patriot is one though. I mean, if you're American,
yeah.
I mean, and have had American history, you know, you should be able to follow this movie pretty good.
Yeah, it hits home, right?
What if I didn't pay attention in American history?
Who's your teacher?
I don't remember.
We maybe should.
That's how much attention I paid.
You need some history, man.
Chance sent in his list, so I can read that off to kind of break the gap between Woods and Bill. Well, before Woods and Bill go, because they're going to go serious on actual war, and then I'll end it off with whatever the crap I listed out. Chances isn't too bad. Number 5, Forrest Gump.
It is a war
film. Yeah, we discussed
film.
that. Yeah. Number 4, Shooter. I don't hate that. He used to be in the war, so.
Bob Lee Swagger.
Number 3, this one actually hasn't been mentioned. A League of Their Own. Husbands were in the war.
I'm going to say that's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a stretch. It's a stretch.
I mean, it's based on true story.
Yeah.
From World War II.
And it's in the war. It's in that setting at least, and it gets brought up a lot and everything.
If it wasn't for war, there would be no League of Their Own.
Yeah.
Has anyone watched the new TV show?
No, not yet.
I don't want to watch. I'm not going to watch
reviews.
it. I don't. No.
I feel like
it's not for me.
You don't mess with perfection.
Thank you.
Number 2, American Sniper. Hasn't been mentioned either.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It was an
honorable mention for me too.
Yeah.
Great and then number 1, Goodfellas, War on Drugs.
There you go.
I love the Goodfellas.
That's his favorite movie, so he's gonna fit that in. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a.
It's about as realistic as mine.
Yeah.
John Wick 4.
I'll go next because you may have hit one or two on my list there.
Was it Goodfellas?
I will admit. No, it was American Sniper, but we'll go. I'll just start. We already mentioned a few of these. My number 1 is Full Metal Jacket. Y'all already said that. Yeah. I mean, to me, the scene in the bathroom in the middle of the night when he kills himself, that's got to be one of the biggest. One of the craziest moments in a film.
And the first time you watch it, you don't know what's going to happen, and you're like, "Oh my God, did that just happen?"
Yeah, blows your mind.
Oh yeah,
I think
you got your mouth open, like what?
The guy that played Powell.
Yeah,
I love the first part of that movie where you see him come in and he's some kind of shy, dopey kind of soft kid, and then you start seeing him transition into this.
Psycho.
You can see it. You can see it in his eyes. His eyes, like the way he just looks.
Well, I mean, when he's sitting there polishing that gun in his eyes, he's just like, "Whoa!"
Because you
I don't
remember
want to be around him.
After the soap scene, that's when I think he mentally broke. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Because then they show him on the course and he's just banging shots, boom, boom, and the drill instructor. That's the first time you hear him compliment him. And then after that, he's gone.
So do y'all think that they done it like being funny, used his name Powell, like Gomer Powell?
Well, I mean, that's what he calls him. I mean, his name was something else.
Oh, that's right.
And the drill
So they
sergeant
just
goes
called
down
him
the
Powell.
line.
That's right.
And he gives him a, that's why he called who's the guy that's the reporter?
Joker.
Yeah, Joker Man. Because he made the, popped off something funny, his John Wayne impression or something. Whenever at the beginning.
Was that your number 1 or 5?
Oh, that was my number 5.
Okay.
No, that was my number 1. Actually,
we had
my
the
1,
same
2, and
number
3
one.
were the same as some already.
Okay, yeah, that's
already
fine.
listed.
That's fine.
So we could say that's the greatest war movie ever because we both had it as number 1.
I'll vote on that.
And I've got number 2 is Platoon.
There we go.
Y'all have talked about that a lot before this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like when we're just recording a sports podcast.
Well, I mean, Platoon came out for me. Okay, it came out in '86, which was my senior year of high school. I'm turning 18, So, this stuff.
Thank God Vietnam's over with.
Oh yeah, I mean this stuff just happened.
Yeah.
Just
fresh on everybody's
11
mind.
years we've been out of Vietnam, so to me that was pretty fresh. So that movie had a big impact on me. I mean, there's a lot of scenes in it that do. And then 3, Saving Private Ryan.
Well, hold on real quick. Back to Platoon. Are you a Sergeant Barnes guy or Sergeant Elias? Who do you align with?
Well, different parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I think I'm an Elias guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like him.
Yeah. But yeah, Saving Private Ryan. I think could be the best World War II film I've ever seen. Number 4, American Sniper, that Chance mentioned, and I didn't know if that was one that's kind of you get some war scenes, but then you get a lot of home stuff, and
it's about the effects of war.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
But but that was a heck of a movie.
I watched that in theaters, and everyone in the theater got up and clapped after it ended.
Yeah.
And then my number 5 is a 1994 film called Frogmen. Anybody ever see that?
I want to watch it. I've never seen it. It's on my to-watch list now.
Who's in that?
Well, the guy, the main character they call Bullfrog's played by O.J. Simpson.
1944?
No, he's in
1994.
Oh, okay.
Called Frogmen.
What war are they? What war is he in?
Well, it's less war. He like lives. It's like he runs this dive shop or boat shop or something like that, and he's head of like a covert team of Navy SEALs, and they're called up to go, do these missions. So.
Yeah.
Oh, an honorable mention outside of the OJ movie is
I don't. Is that even on IMDb? What's it
his
called?
wife.
Frogman?
Frogmen.
Men?
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know if it was actually released, since the release date was supposed to be 94.
It's a TV movie.
And there was some other stuff that came out,
Yeah,
happened in 94.
Yeah, some other war.
So it may not have.
I
Their,
found the Frogmen.
their
from
operation is fronted in a dive shop in Malibu.
There's
Oh,
a movie
Malibu.
called
I
The
was thinking it was
Frogmen in 1951.
Oh no, that was too old.
It's got 51 reviews on IMDb, so it's pretty popular.
Oh, wow.
51?
That's it.
What is the Rotten Tomato score?
I don't know about
Probably
that. It doesn't even have a poster. It's just a group
Negative.
photo.
An honorable mention. Nobody's mentioned. Have y'all seen 13 Hours?
Yes.
Yeah.
Came out in 2016. It's
Yeah.
on about the
That's
Benghazi
true
thing.
story.
Jim,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
That's rough.
About the
That's a
Benghazi.
tough one.
Dude, that if that doesn't make you look at that.
They got swimsuits on with MP5s.
That's a Frogman.
So,
But yeah, 13 hours to me. I mean, and I'm not one that gets political, but man,
That'll make you hate
if
Hillary
you
Clinton.
dig into that and you don't hate Hillary Clinton after she let those people die,
Right.
then holy cow! I mean, that was a strong movie. I recommend you see it, Clay. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh,
It has like 18 hours of movies.
13 hours is recent, though.
I hope you're writing all these movies down that you need to be
10
watching.
years old at this point. Isn't it?
2016.
If it's war, I wasn't going to watch it. That's just never been my
The movie
genre.
was pulled from release because it was supposed to be an NBC series, but it was pulled from release because of his arrest.
Probably, yeah.
Any plans for producing the series were canceled soon after.
Bring it back.
Oh, so do I need to replace it?
The greatest movie that
You
could have
replaced it with
been.
13 hours.
No, that's a
Oh,
perfect
okay,
pick.
okay.
No, we're taking Frogman.
It was argued at one point that O.J. Simpson's training for his character as a Navy SEAL in Frogman might have facilitated his ability to commit the murders.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That's an important pop culture
The
fact that
podcast-
people
Is that
don't
where he
know.
got the
The
knife?
podcast
Hey,
takes it back.
interestingly enough, my replacement for that was War of the Roses. Anybody see that?
Does it have Danny DeVito in it?
Michael Douglas,
Danny
Kathleen
DeVito in
Turner.
it?
To this day, it's been confiscated and in the property of the Los Angeles Police Department.
So it's still out there.
So you may not have seen it.
Get the hashtag going.
They
Release
believe the knife
Frogman.
used in the movie was the murder weapon.
Yeah, that's it. We figured it out. All right, Woods, get us back on track.
All right. So you could go forever. You could go forever on war movies. Like I Ray, I was telling you earlier, we could sit down and write war movies down for an hour and never stop.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to try to break it down and you know, if we're going to do 5, I wanted to do 5 movies that were based on true stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
Because that way, you know,
help you define the list.
And there's no better way to tell a story than actually be there. That type of situation. So, but first, honorable mention is not a true story, and I had to bring this out. We talked about this earlier at the first of the podcast. My honorable mention is First Blood. Okay, well, Rambo. All right, but the reason for that is, number one, I'm a Stallone fan, and that's just the way it is. And for 2, that was the first movie of the time in the 80s that really dealt with post-traumatic stress syndrome. You know,
Didn't even have a name.
It didn't even have a name, but you know, I mean, of course, Stallone's the king of the franchise, right. And from Rambo 2 on to Rambo 30 that they've got out now, they're all kind of the action movie. But if you go back and watch the very First Blood, he's literally fighting the war within. You know, I mean, he's dealing with.
And he's just a dude minding his own business, walking through a town, and all of a sudden,
the sheriff's
treated like crap.
Yeah, the sheriff's giving him a hard time because in the book, you know, the sheriff was a Korean War vet, and he's giving him a hard time, you know, because of the Vietnam War kind of overshadowed the Korean War thing, and so he was bitter, and he sees this kid basically coming into his town. He tries to run him out. Well, you know, he don't realize what he's dealing with.
Yeah.
And at the end of that movie, you know, when he's sitting there. And, you know, Colonel Troutman comes in to get him, you know, his commanding officer, and he just breaks down. He was like, man, just a few years ago, I was in charge of $1 million equipment and all this stuff, and now I can't even get a job parking cars, you know. And he's like, I don't know what to do with myself. I literally, you know, you tell that his battle stress had just took him over.
Right.
You know, and that was a very powerful scene for a movie that ended up being just like this huge franchise. You know, but I don't know. I always thought that was a good one. But that was my honorable mention.
I think the story is underrated in that movie, because when you think of Rambo, all you think about is just pure action.
Right.
You think about just action flicks from that time, but Rambo, a lot of it was the story. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first one was more of a story to build up the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
That's right.
Building up to Home
And it was
Alone.
my favorite. I would love to see it remade. Just because you go back and look at it now, and you know, it's got that cheesy quality to some of it. You know, there's some things that if you saw it remade now, you know, it would look a lot better. And a lot cleaner.
He's still got it.
He just played a superhero.
Well, yeah.
He could do it again.
Yeah, he could do it.
He could do it again.
But I would say my probably my number 5 would be. Have y'all seen the movie 12 Strong?
No. Heard about it.
12 Strong. It's got Thor is the main character.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's
I fell asleep.
Story.
But
Oh, that's pretty recent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, true story about the you know, right after
They were the first guys in. I have seen that.
Right.
Netflix did.
That's right. They
Ride the
go in.
horses and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, they were the first
River?
Green Berets on the ground after 9/11.
That's right.
And they pretty much, you know, told them, you know, you're going to go take over
Said ride the
Mazar-e
horses
Sharif, which was the city that was a big
9/11.
Taliban stronghold, and y'all are going to ride in on horses. And they were like, sign us up. When do we go?
Yeah,
and
those guys were brave.
Hardcore, man. The baddest dudes in the world,
Yeah.
you know. And they did. They went and took that place down. They went and got the militias, you know, and got them to fight with them. And they rode in on horseback and took over a city.
Yeah.
That's serious business. And it's funny because, you know, I mean, you got Hemsworth playing one guy, and you got, you know, all these big monster actors, and you look at those guys in real life, and they look like just normal Joes, you know, work at the mill or work at the factory, you know. And no, man, they're legit, you know. So I thought that was a really cool story, and the movie was pretty good. It wasn't, to me, the book was a million times better, but you know, it adapted pretty decent, you know, in the movie.
It's definitely the latest movie on our list, I think.
Yeah. My number 4, this movie's on Netflix. It's got, was it Scott Eastwood, Clint Eastwood's son? It's a movie called The Outpost. It's another recent movie.
Yeah, I watched that. It's
man,
full of action.
Woo! As soon as that movie starts,
what war is that?
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They're down in a.
They're trapped.
Their outpost is kind of in the bottom of a
ravine
mountain range, and the Taliban just comes down on them, and they're kind of trapped, and it's just they're just basically fighting to stay alive. Yeah. And that's an intense movie. If y'all hadn't watched that one, man, y'all get on Netflix.
And it's another true story, if I ain't mistaken.
Yeah, it's true. And I think one guy out of that group won a Medal of Honor. So that's an awesome movie. A lot of action in that one. Number 3, We Were Soldiers.
Yeah.
You know, this podcast is brought to you by Mel Gibson. You know what I'm saying? I think he's been on everybody's list, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, you know, true story. Vietnam, one of the first battles fought in Vietnam, wasn't it, Bill?
Which one was that?
That's the one where they have to take the hill, whatever.
Yeah, where they.
Yeah.
And that was a great movie. Of course, it showed the dynamic between, you know, at home with the wives, you know, and they were all just terrified to see the car pull up. You know, that always stuck with me because I mean, that had to have been a sickening feeling, you know, and they would see it pulling through the neighborhood, you know, and then everybody was just on
edge.
Death just showed up basically, you know, and then it would cut back to those guys and they were, you know, fighting the Viet Cong, and I think they were like extremely outnumbered, and they ended up taking that hill from them and backing the Viet Cong down. So that's an awesome movie, which Mel Gibson don't fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His movies don't fail; they never have. So that was my number 3. Number 2, we talked about this at the beginning, but I couldn't leave it out just because of how that movie changes you when you watch it. Is Schindler's List. Yeah. World War II,
it's
Germans.
At the top of a lot of lists.
Oh man,
it's probably the hardest movie to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Absolutely, and it's like a 3.5 hour film. It's a super long film. I remember it was one of the first films I ever saw that was like 2 VHS. You remember it came in the big box.
Oh, yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yep, showing my age. But I remember watching it for the first time, and you know, when the first part's over with, and you're like, do I even want to start the second part? Man, this is, you know, I need to go take a break, you know, and then you go back and watch the second part, and it just watching those Jewish people be just treated like animals, you know, and I mean, it was just nothing for them to go in and just, you know,
and that's literally
bang,
how they were treated.
How they were treated.
Like,
you know.
animals. I mean, really.
There's a couple of scenes in that movie that are just insane. Like when the German girl, or excuse me, when the Jewish lady is yelling at the engineers that are building that building, and the commandant comes up and is like, what's the problem? And she's like, they're building it wrong. Like, the dimensions are wrong. He was like, where'd you go to school? He was like, well, I went to so-and-so. And he was like, oh, okay, you're an engineer? She was like, yes, I'm just trying to help. He was like, okay. He turns to his guy and goes, shoot her. And he's like, well, I'm just trying to help. And he goes to walk her off, and he's like, no, do it right here so everybody can see, you know. And they just, like, from the start, you realize, like, this is bad. Like, this is terrible, you know, and all throughout that movie. And then at the end, when Schindler's or when Oscar Schindler is like, all the Jewish people gather around him after they're liberated, you know, and he starts freaking out, and he's telling them, like, you know, this ring's got gold in it. I could have bought one more person. You know what I'm saying? That this watch is, you know, it had diamonds in it. I could buy 5 or 6 more people, because he was having to buy those Jewish people from the German army so they would work in his factories. You remember? Oh, and yeah. the reason he was doing that, because he knew that was keeping them alive the whole time. That's an incredible movie. If you've never seen Schindler's List, you need to watch it. Take some time, because that's a lot to digest in that movie.
Yeah.
That one's a rough one. Another true story. Yeah. You know, so awesome. And then my number 1 favorite. It's debatable, but my number 1 favorite, I don't know if it's been mentioned, is Lone Survivor.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Whoa, man, that movie is incredible.
Is that the Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. You know, when they go try to get that guy, and then they get pushed off that mountain, basically, and them dudes are just, they're fighting for their life, and it's all, you know, it's everything they can do just to gain ground, and then everybody in his unit gets killed. One of them ends up with the Medal of Honor, and
is it Axel, the one that is like posted up on a tree?
Yeah,
yeah.
And of course the movie is more about the action scene, the firefight, and they had a fallen angel, during that when the rescue helicopter went down.
Yeah, got shot.
Got shot down.
That was worse.
Yeah, and
they
so
lost a ton of people.
they lost a lot of SEALs doing that, and the movie is about the action scene. The book is less about the action and more about when the tribe takes him in and protects him from the Taliban.
Yeah,
because of an old tradition.
Yes,
and kindness at the root of it.
Yeah, and it was I think they call it like Pashtun Wali, and basically the elder of the village was like, he made the decision like, okay, yeah, we're gonna protect you to the death. And basically, they kept him alive until U.S. ground forces found him, and then they came in there and got him out. And I think he ended up getting the guy that saved him over to the States. Mm-hmm. I end up thinking he ended up bringing him over to the States. So, but man, that's an awesome movie, and you can get on YouTube and watch him speak. Like, I think he speaks one time like Alabama football, and he just breaks it down what he went. It's insane, man. It just, the will to live basically is the most powerful thing in the world, and him going through that, falling down that mountain and just surviving that was incredible. So to me, Lone Survivor is my favorite war movie.
Yeah, I'm glad that got brought up.
Yeah, man, that's an awesome one.
Incredible story.
All right. Well, it's the fun time here. Open up your brains a bit.
I was gonna say, new piece of paper.
I've got some facts to try to back my opinions here. Number 5, though, we're gonna keep it real. 1917.
Good choice.
It's an actual war movie. Yeah. One-shot movie. I watched it in the theater. Might have been by myself. I know I went alone. I think I was the only person in the theater. Exhausting movie. Yeah. It's uniquely made. Nothing else I've ever seen like it. Probably because I've seen no other war movies.
Did you pause it during the middle to take a break?
I wish I could have.
Well, if you're the only person there, I thought maybe you had that power.
And then now we're about to go downhill. Here's number 4. The movie takes place in a war room. It's draft day.
I'm going to call that a reach.
No, so here we go. Here we go. So if you look up the definition of war, this is what I based a lot of mine on. It's a state of competition, conflict, or hostility between different people. Well,
who died?
Well, hostility. They didn't say nothing about death. So draft day, you got the GM and the owner who want different things. Very hostile. Big difference of hostility. And if you want to talk about armed conflict, Sonny Weaver Jr., he's armed with draft picks. And he holds them against the owner. He takes Vontae Mack instead of Bo Callahan.
Does he have any weapons?
Yeah,
Callahan,
draft picks.
One of the biggest arms in the league.
Yeah.
I just want to be on record that I have people walk up to me and say, Disorderlies? That made the list?
Yeah, it's a good movie. Well, it's about to get even crazier. So.
Oh, man.
This one's pretty good. No, it's not. Number 3, Avengers Endgame. That one makes sense. Battle of Earth is what the main fight is called in that.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Arguably more important than the Battle of Gettysburg, probably, to Earth. I mean, Endgame, Gettysburg, which one?
One of them made $3 billion.
Exactly. They didn't know what $3 billion was back then. So when you think of war, what do you think of? The ultimate sacrifice for your country, right?
Or death, yeah, sure.
Well, what did Iron Man do? He sacrificed himself for the universe.
You're gonna make me cry.
I mean, there's no bigger sacrifice ever than what Iron Man did in that movie.
I feel like there's a religion coming after this.
I didn't put that on my list just because I thought Clay was going to do that.
There's another Mel Gibson movie called The Passion of the Christ.
sucks.
Yeah.
It's a bigger sacrifice there, Clay.
I feel like I need to move 1917 off this list now. Here's my personal favorite. Mean Girls, number 2.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
So, hostility between a group of people.
The plastics.
Bill is walking
Bill's
out.
walking off.
So, there's no better hostility than the group. I mean, if you watch that movie, there's the main girls, the plastics. There's just straight up war going on between them, and there's a fight scene in the hallway. Yep. And I looked up, I read a synopsis for the movie. Listen to this. Raised in the African bush country by her zoologist parents, Katie Heron thinks she knows all about survival of the fittest. But the law of the jungle takes on a whole new meaning when the homeschooled 16-year-old enters public high school for the first time.
Did you write that review?
No. Katie's own claws soon come out as she leaps into a hilarious girl world war that has the whole school running for cover.
That's interesting.
There you go.
That makes sense.
You can submit your own
I'm gonna
synopsis
tell you
on
though,
IMDb.
Real quick, Jumanji is more of a war film than Mean Girls.
Okay.
And that's a stretch.
You could have picked it. You could have picked it.
I love Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. Not a war film.
How?
No way.
Hostility.
It
Definitely
sucks.
hostile.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of high school girls, I mean, hostility should come to mind.
It's hand in hand. I see how you got there.
Yeah. I mean,
Claws.
I'm just using the dictionary.
It's not even the dictionary.
Vocabulary guy.
Well, it's like
Google the word war and see what pops
Hey,
up.
Afraid
my
to
list
hear
is
the
no
rest of
different.
Your list.
Huh?
so we
afraid
can
to hear the rest of
so
your
we
list.
can call Tropic Thunder a war movie,
Oh, for
but
sure.
it's actually a movie about a war movie being
Yeah,
made.
that's true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
It's a movie
You could have
about a
picked
movie.
it. I'd have been all right with it.
Comedy is
I hope
subjective.
that's Clay's pick. It's Tropic Thunder.
I haven't seen it, so no.
Or
Number 1 is Remember the Titans. Race war between the white and blacks. Gettysburg is visited. So that gets brought
Very
up. Yeah,
much,
Coach
yeah.
Boone says this is where they fought the Battle of Gettysburg. 50,000 men died right here on this field, fighting the same fight that we're still fighting amongst ourselves today.
So Coach Boone would say it.
Don't forget war on the field. They're playing football.
Yeah. On the gridiron.
There's some violence.
Great scene in that movie.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Great scene, great movie.
I mean,
Brought 'em
he
together.
right there, Coach Boone said that we're still fighting the battle that they fought in the Battle of Gettysburg. So
Definitely not a war film.
I think
What was
it
that,
is.
number 2?
Number 1.
That was number 1? Okay, thanks.
I just want to say that
We done?
I have a few other war movies at my disposal. Like, have y'all seen Brothers? Brothers is kind of
Yeah.
like the PTSD type thing.
Step Brothers.
Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers.
Brothers.
Brothers is a war
Tobey
film.
Maguire.
They
But
fight
Brothers
each
is
other.
great.
Phenomenal movie.
Tough to watch.
Yeah, and then Unbroken was really good. I like
Yep.
that one.
What about Zero Dark?
Unbroken definitely need to be
What about
watched.
Zero Dark 30?
Never
Did y'all
seen
catch that one?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was great.
I like
that. was
that.
about the how they tracked down Bin Laden.
Oh, yeah.
The
I think I
CIA,
watched that,
you know,
yeah.
how they finally tracked Bin Laden
Yeah.
down through his courier.
You had to really watch that to
Had to
keep
really-
up with it.
Right, and then that did the whole raid with the helicopter crashing, and then them going in there and doing business.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. That's on a lot of people's list. Definitely a war film. Definitely wouldn't be on my
Well,
list.
not a lot of Civil War mentioned here, other than Clay. Remember the Titans and Gettysburg.
Yep.
But
What was a good Civil War film when we were kids?
There was one with Denzel Washington in it.
Remember the Titans? Yeah.
that's the thing. I can't think of a lot of Civil War.
Okay, so I just
Ferris
pulled
Bueller-
up.
Ferris Bueller's in one of them. It's
Yeah.
Glory,
maybe Glory
Is
or
it Glory or
something.
Gettysburg.
Wasn't there one
But
called?
There's more movies, better movies than that.
Wasn't there one called North versus South?
North versus South, maybe a TV series.
Yeah, I think that was a series.
Yeah.
Hey, what
Yeah.
about Pearl
Miniseries.
Harbor? That was a really good World War II movie.
For its
I
time,
don't know how
yeah.
I forgot that.
The
Kate
best
Beckinsale.
war
I
love
really like
love
that.
story.
It was
Who's
a,
that?
Kate Beckinsale.
No, I know it's Ben Affleck.
That was actually a
and
pretty
Josh
good movie.
Hartnett and
That's World War II.
Alex Baldwin's in it.
And Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
So if you pull up war
It's really
movies,
good.
there is some movies you would never think would be under the. So I'm scrolling across, and Little Women pop up
What website
as
are
a
you on?
no, it's just war
Set during
war
the war,
movies.
right?
What hub is this?
I mean, there's some. Wonder Woman's one of the top ones.
Gangs of New York would be a good one.
Well,
Wonder Woman's
I-
really good.
I just saw one that was Civil War related. Gods and Generals. Have y'all seen that?
Yep.
That's good. I forgot all about that.
Well, two very little honorable mentions. Casualties of War is good. You know, it's got the guy from Back to the Future.
Christopher Lloyd.
No, Christopher Lloyd's not in it.
Biff
What's the
Tannen.
name of that movie?
Michael J. Fox.
Casualties
Michael
of
J.
War.
Fox?
Michael J. Fox is in
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's a good.
Oh,
That's, I mean, it's not going to be on your list, but
That's a rough Vietnam movie.
you will enjoy
Yeah.
watching it.
That's
It's got Sean Penn in it.
Yep,
Sean Penn's the
Sean
bad
Penn,
guy.
yep.
And it deals kind of with war, terrible war scenarios. What are we looking for? War.
It's got some rough
Mission
things.
Yeah.
Mission
Got some
Impossible
very-
Fallout. He had to save the world
Yeah, he had some rough.
Have y'all-
single-handedly.
Have y'all seen Blood Diamond?
Yes.
That's like you have child soldiers in there, and DiCaprio's guys, South African mercenary, but it almost made. I just love that movie in general. Who is the main guy in that movie? He's big now.
It's
though.
Leonardo
No,
DiCaprio.
the guy who's trying
Don't
to
get
his
much bigger.
kids back. The guy who's
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get his
yeah,
kids
yeah.
back.
He's in a lot of stuff.
He's magnificent in that movie. I was searching for a word, but he's great in that movie.
Well, you,
When he's trying to get his kids back.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I know you're talking about.
yeah, that guy.
He's
yeah.
great in that movie, and the end of that movie where
Digimon Hilson?
Yeah, that's it.
he's fighting the guys off, and he's on the mountain. He's got his M4. He's fighting them off, and he dies there.
Yeah.
I know Bill would probably agree with this one. Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, it's good. I like.
Yeah.
The Deer Hunter. Have you seen that?
Deer
That
Hunter.
movie.
Deer Hunter,
That was
yeah.
on my list before
Born
I
on the 4th of
decided
July
to make
didn't really-
That's the
True
scene
life
where
story.
With the gun?
Russian roulette.
That's
Russian
a rough
roulette,
movie to
yeah.
watch,
You can't
man.
get that out of your mind.
You can't.
Or
That's
him
terrible.
in that cage in the water. I had no knowledge of that kind of torture
Yeah,
until I watched that movie, and that's
rough.
rough.
That
man.
movie sticks with you.
I just remember one nobody thought of. Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Robin
Good
Robin Williams.
Definitely the
Beast, man.
funniest
Yeah.
war film, right?
Yeah,
I like Mean
forgot
Girls a
about
lot.
MASH was a film.
MASH was a film. Korean War. That's the only Korean War reference we've had.
Yeah.
I tell you, of course, Platoon was Oscar winning. All these movies
Right.
were big, but then you had like the knockoff '80s Vietnam films, Uncommon Valor. You remember
Yeah.
Gene Hackman?
Oh yeah.
You had Platoon Leader that had the guy that played the American Ninja. You remember? And it was
Okay.
that group. They were in Vietnam, and he was a NCO maybe,
Right.
and he was coming in to a group that he was fresh, and he was coming in to lead this platoon of people, and they were all just hard dudes. They'd been over there for a while, and that was a good movie.
If you're looking for a Korean War reference, we were just talking about Gran Torino.
Yeah.
It's more of a war movie than Mean Girls, for sure. Not to beat up Clay too much.
Has anybody mentioned the
hostility.
movie Unbroken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't
I
remember.
said it.
That's right.
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter did a while ago.
That's right.
Hey,
That was a good movie.
I want to talk about two movies real quick that I think should be discussed on this segment. One is going to be Jojo Rabbit, which is a funny and disturbing movie.
I want to watch that.
It's great how it's done. The little kid's imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler, and he's a German youth. It's just freaky.
Yeah.
But definitely a good movie. But one I want to talk maybe a little bit more about is The Pianist.
Yes.
Silent
Pianist?
film, huh?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is that the silent movie?
It is not a silent movie.
Oh, that's the artist. I think.
Yeah. The Pianist is a real story about a composer in Poland, I guess.
Nazi occupied.
World War
Poland,
II, and he survives, man. And it is it's a fantastic film. It's The Pianist.
That reminds me of a joke.
But it's rough. It's rough.
You're not ready for this film, man. I didn't watch it as a kid. I thought it was kind of I was like nerdy movie.
Something like that.
Hunter, I know
it'll
one
change
you
your life.
missed. Top Gun. How did you not?
I was
have
gonna
Top
say,
Gun?
is
not
Top
list
Gun
Top-
Maverick
I thought
count?
Top Gun was going to be on one of y'all's lists.
Well, it just came out.
Oh,
we watched
wait a
it.
minute.
We watched it yesterday.
You mean the
For
Top
the
Gun's been out forever. What do
The
you mean?
original.
Yeah.
1986.
Oh
Y'all
no,
are talking about two different Top Guns.
No.
Have you seen the original?
yeah, it's
Hunter, how many times have you watched Top Gun?
5 in theaters.
Well, how
They
many
keep
times-
re-releasing it, so
how many
why
times
wouldn't I
have
go?
you seen the original?
It's a handful of times. I mean, it's good, but
I watched it
when
once.
it's
I'll never watch it
almost
again.
the same movie as the second one, and this one's modern, why wouldn't you choose this one?
They're both
I wouldn't
great.
say that they're the same movie at all.
I mean,
I
airplanes.
didn't see Goose in the second one.
No, he's in the flashback.
Yeah, he's actually in there.
Another movie that kind of goes in the vein of The Pianist
Yeah.
and Schindler's List is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Yeah, I
You ever
forgot
seen
about
that?
one.
about 6 times a week in middle school.
Yeah, they played that a lot in school.
Yeah, it
Did they really?
sucks.
Yeah.
Where'd y'all go to
Yeah.
school?
Is that what your teacher made you watch?
Yeah, it was the movie that we watched.
Yeah, I ran across that one by happenstance, and
You know, I watched Saving Private Ryan in school for the first time. Yeah.
Who showed you that?
I don't remember.
Has anyone seen Dunkirk?
Dunkirk?
Yes, I have not.
It's slow at the beginning, you know, but
So if
It's
we
on
want to
a
bring
lot of
it,
list.
we want to bring it back, way back, like war movies. What about Troy?
hey,
Brad Pitt.
Gladiator.
300. 300.
300. Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, that's war. Just back, way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. It doesn't get any better than 300. That's great.
Has anyone went through the misfortune of watching Mine with Armie Hammer? Where he's a soldier and then he steps on the landmine and he has to stay there for a couple days?
Yes.
No.
You've seen that? Did you watch?
I've
Did you
seen
see
it.
the ending and how you're like, well, I just wasted 2 hours. He was standing on a can the entire time.
It
Spoilers.
wasn't really a landmine.
He was just standing on a can.
Wow.
So
I want to see his documentary about his family.
Yeah, he's apparently done some stuff.
Yeah.
He eats people, right?
Yeah.
He's a self-proclaimed cannibal.
Something.
Who is this?
Armie Hammer. He's got a documentary coming out and it looks pretty good.
Armin Hammer?
Yeah.
He got Me Too.
Not the baking soda.
Oh, really?
On some text messages and yeah.
I gotta look his cat up.
But evidently, it's like a family tradition, and there's a new documentary coming out or docu.
It's called The Hammer House, I think.
The Hammer House. It's like a tell-all.
So if y'all are open to watching older movies like some that are renowned, there's a movie called if you Google the greatest samurai movies ever, you'll come across Seven Samurai from 1954.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like one of the best movies ever.
It is amazing, and for the time, you got to realize you're gonna watch it in black and white, But
is it better than Big Trouble in Little China or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Is that a war movie?
Yes, it is.
War
but
on China.
Seven Samurai is worth a watch, though, for sure.
Subtitles, right?
Oh yeah,
That's all I thought.
unless you speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So.
I'm a little rusty on that.
I'm gonna give y'all one quick sleeper, man. It's not a great movie of all time, but it is a great mediocre movie. It's called Heart's War, World War II prison camp. Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. It's really well done.
Oh, another one I thought about was Matthew Broderick in War Games.
War Games.
That's
Yeah.
That is a good
some
movie.
freaky stuff, especially for 1983.
Let's say funny
You know?
game.
Yeah.
Well, ain't that what the computer tells him at the end? Funny game. No matter, basically, to paraphrase, no matter which option you choose, everybody loses.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Another Biloxi Blues. You ever heard of that? Anybody?
I missed that one.
Matthew Broderick was in it too. Private Benjamin with Goldie Hawn.
Hey, what's the one where all the comedians go to join the army? Like, what is
Stripes?
that?
Stripes. Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
The Big Red One.
I
was
remember
another
Private
one.
Benjamin with Goldie Hawn. That was a funny movie.
Yeah. Biloxi Blues was. Did somebody say Officer and a Gentleman earlier?
No.
That was.
How did we miss Iron Eagle?
Yeah.
I mean, how did it? Lou
Lou
Gossett Jr., man.
Ford versus Ferrari.
But Red Dawn probably. That freaked me out pretty bad because.
I love Red Dawn.
But I mean, I was in high school.
Yeah, you felt like it was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be us, man.
Wasn't that
Riding horses
remade like not too long ago?
Yeah, they made it again.
For Clay and them.
Hemsworth was in it.
They did not do it justice. The first one's way better.
I didn't watch the second one.
Yeah.
It was the Koreans came over the second time, huh?
Oh, one
And
other
the
one I thought
remake.
about. Valkyrie with
Ooh,
Tom
Valkyrie,
Cruise.
Yeah.
True story.
And they were trying to assassinate Hitler.
Nerve-wracking.
That was a complex movie. I mean, it was.
Yeah. And the only reason they didn't get him, he couldn't set those two bombs. If you remember, he had
when
two
they had
bombs,
the big meeting. In their
he
meeting
went in the
thing.
bathroom, and he only had time for one because they were kind of like, "Hey, come on, the meeting's starting." He only set one. If he just set both of them, they got him.
There's a shot where he has a fake butt in that movie. It shows his butt and it's fake.
We're talking about that American Sniper. Remember the fake baby? Like serious movie, everything's terrible. And they got a fake baby, man. It kind of took the edge off of it.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Well, I think this is interesting. Y'all got anything else to say? We can round it out.
It's going to be a questionable graphic that goes up for sure.
Well, you think the pink Mean Girl poster's not going to fit in?
I would like to apologize for Clay's picks in advance to anybody that might be offended.
I'd like to apologize to Merriam-Webster Dictionary for putting out a fake definition, apparently.
Well, I think we can all agree Mel Gibson might be the king of war movies.
King of war movies.
I think Lindsay Lohan. Ryan Gosling playing
Lindsay
wide
Lohan
receiver.
sucks.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
In anything.
Brad Pitt
She's
hit a
not
few
good.
too.
Brad
he
Pitt,
did several.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt be second place on the war movie scale.
Marky Mark.
Definitely Tom Hanks. Even
Yeah.
though
Yeah,
not-
Marky Mark.
Yeah.
Marky Mark.
But he was both Marcus Luttrell and on he was Bob Lee Swagger. So
Oh, yeah.
mentioned
Forgot about
twice
that.
tonight. So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys.
heck yeah, enjoyed it.
Send it out. Where's the can, Josh? Chop on. We got who dat. All right.
This ain't how it's supposed to be. It should be just you and me.